The 54th Women's FA Cup final, the 10th played at Wembley, and it is Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester United. Both of these clubs looking for their first piece of major silverware, and there will be a new name on the FA Cup trophy come the conclusion at Wembley this afternoon. It's a sold-out National Stadium, the atmosphere electric, and these two teams with laser-sharp focus on the prize that is at stake.
The players will now be presented to FA Chair Debbie Hughes, the Chair of the FA Women's Football Board, Sue Hall, and Marketing President of Adobe, Simon Lodge.
Well, Rachel, what is going through the two sets of players' minds at the moment, especially when they haven't had this experience too many times?
No, I think there will be still some nerves. I actually think, from my perspective anyway, normally this is a moment where I'm grateful to be at. I think it's arriving at the stadium. It's not been too long a morning, but often that's when most of the nerves come, I think. And once you're at this point, you sort of know the game's about to begin. You've got to that point, you've made it. And you start to just look to enjoy it. I think both fans will feel the energy and the atmosphere from their fans. I mean, the stadium looks spectacular. Right now, both fans are sort of waving their respective coloured flags. The pitch looks fantastic. I think you start to feel it now. That energy that was nerves sort of turns to that excitement, and you're just sort of ready to get your first touch of the ball.
Well, what a sight it is in terms of the spectacle the supporters are putting on, as Bethany England, who does have experience on this big stage. She was part of the Chelsea side who toasted victory against the other club from Manchester. Daniel Levy, the Tottenham Hotspur chairman, in attendance. There are the great and the good from both clubs here to see the respective sides this afternoon. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe, recently installed as one of the main men at Manchester United, passing on a good luck message to the women's team today as well.
I think that's important. You know, nowadays the women's team are an integral part of the clubs, and you like to see that. You like to see it's important for the owners, board members to want to be at these occasions. And I think we're at a point now, of course, the stadium just about full. There'll be a few more people rushing along Wembley Way to try and get to their seats in time for the start of the game. But this is now the level we're at, and I think that should make everyone want to be here. And of course, if you're important enough to sit on a board, of course, coming in and supporting the team or wishing them well if you can't be here is a big part of that. And I think, you know, it's great to see, but it's what we expect to see as well.
Well, before the action, we will hear the national anthem. Well, let's have a look at the team news for you then, starting with Manchester United. Mark Skinner has made two changes to the team that started the WSL defeat to Liverpool last time out. Former Spurs forward Rachel Williams, who is their top scorer in the FA Cup this season, with 4 in 4 appearances in the competition, comes in, with Nikita Paris dropping to the bench. The other alterations at the back, where Jade Riviere replaces Gemma Evans. Maya Letizia has played every minute for United this season and scored a last gasp leveller against Tottenham in the league last month. Spurs are also changed by 2 from their last game. On loan Manchester United midfielder Grace Clinton is ineligible, so ex-United forward Martha Thomas steps in. There's a boost at the back for Robert Villaham, with Amy James-Turner, who missed the Everton game through injury, able to start as Molly Bartlett moves to the bench. Beth England started here for Chelsea in their FA Cup victory over the other Manchester club 2 years ago. Well, I mentioned there, Rachel, the absence of Grace Clinton. We knew that she wasn't going to be able to feature for Tottenham today, but that is obviously a massive hole for them to fill.
Yeah, she's been one of their top performers. She's played a lot of minutes for them, but you know, she probably was disappointed when she saw that United would progress, and inevitably that meant she wouldn't be able to play in this game. But nonetheless, Tottenham have you know, you look at the lineup and it's very, very attacking. I think when these sides have met already this season, probably United have had a lot of the ball. I'm not sure that would favour Spurs today, given the conditions, how warm it will be. It's warm for us up here, but I think it'll be even warmer down there. The players will start to feel that. Of course, we're not used to that. I think this week's the first week since in 2024 we've seen the sunshine. So that's going to affect how the game goes out, and I wonder if that's why Spurs have chosen the attacking lineup. I think players like Naz and Vinberg have an opportunity to show what they can do, and this is the type of occasion when you want to show it. You want to feel you have the freedom to play. The pitch is big. If they get the ball in the wide areas, then it'll be about what they can bring.
Abby Byrne takes charge of the cup final for the second time after being in the middle for the 2019 showpiece. And a reminder that we will have VAR in operation today as well. The second Women's FA Cup final to include VAR and goal line technology. Tottenham Hotspur, the underdogs in their head coach's eyes, but still full of belief that they can be the ones tasting glory at Wembley. The pressure certainly on Manchester United. Mark Skinner has admitted that they do need to start collecting silverware after what has been a disappointing domestic campaign, out of the Champions League places in the league, and with the club's hierarchy watching on from above. Gorgeous day for it. Manchester United suffered heartbreak here against Chelsea in last season's showpiece. Can they use that to get the job done today, or will Tottenham Hotspur crack it at the first attempt? On Abby Byrne's whistle, the players, match officials and coaching staff take a knee. Manchester United get us off and underway in the red shirts, kicking from right to left in this first half. History set to be made. Will it be Manchester United or Tottenham Hotspur who become the newest name on the Women's FA Cup trophy? Well, an early problem here for Martha Thomas.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't actually as a foul. I think I wonder how that will be for the United centre-backs. Martha Thomas probably will play a little deeper than Beth England, but you see there she goes out with Maya Letizia, and it's just as she flicks it on, I think just catches the side of Maya Letizier's head. A little bit of a sore one, but I think she's okay. I think she was probably just wanting the ref to know that's a foul, but Spurs still have the ball.
Plenty of subplots across the pitch. Martha Thomas joined Tottenham from Manchester United last summer, so you mentioned the centre-halves wondering what they're going to have to deal with. Some of them will know her pretty well already, though.
Yeah, they will. And she has a handful. I think she probably herself would prefer to play in that number 9 role, but she's had to adapt with Beth England being there, of course.
Early opening, but Mary Oakes sees that one float safely over the top of the bar from Matilda Vinberg.
play there. She just cuts inside, probably on her weaker foot, but you know, I think it shows the intent they have, and she's a young player, she's willing to do that, she's going to take players on, and it's a good feeling, I think, just to get that touch, but inside 2 minutes she's already got her shot away, and just to get a feeling for the game, that'll make her feel good. Starting the FA Cup final, having come on from the bench in all of the 4 previous matches in the competition this season. Toon. Leah Galton wants it and gets. Galton for Toon again. Looking for Leah Galton! That's a really good save by Becky Spencer. So quickly out to save the day for Spurs. Yeah, it's a fantastic save. Just seeing Galton's pace there, and it's a lovely combination inside. She gets the ball back from Ella Toon. You just see her, she picks up in the wide area. She can go herself, but she knows if she just gets herself into that free running style, she gives herself the chance, and Becky Spencer's very alert. She comes out quick. In the end, I think saves it with her legs, and it's probably a little bit of a sore one, just shin to shin. Both players, I think, just need a little bit of treatment. I think both will be okay, but it's one of those ones that is very painful, and probably just need a couple of extra seconds to just feel okay to continue. Becky Spencer finally getting a run out in the big one, an unused sub for 3 FA Cup finals with Arsenal, who did win all 3 of those, and she lifted the FA Cup with Birmingham back in 2012, and she has been brave there to deny Leah Galton an early opener for Manchester United. She'll be hoping, though, that it is not just a brief appearance in this cup final. And as for Galton, she's scored in wins over Tottenham in both of the last 2 campaigns, and has had the first serious chance of the latest meeting between the clubs. Yeah, both players just getting up gingerly. I think they will be okay. Becky Spencer, though, a very experienced goalkeeper, a player today that we probably expect she'll need to perform should Spurs find a way to get a result and lift that trophy. Katie Zellum, who's so useful with her dead ball deliveries, takes this one, it's into a good area, and it should have been the opening goal. Rachel Williams, the former Tottenham Hotspur player, arriving but not converting. Mark, that's a huge chance. Those are the opportunities that she thrives on, and truthfully, I'm really surprised she's not hit the target. She's excellent from those areas. It's probably a little bit of a mismatch, I would say, just at the back post. You see there, she shrugs off the challenge and just can't guide her header low enough. And yeah, that's one that's very unlike her. And she's been very good in this competition so far, and that's a very early warning sign. Yeah, she averages a goal every 33 minutes in the FA Cup this season. Should have made that average even better there. Neville. Tottenham could do with just a period of possession, with Manchester United building up a bit of a head of steam. Bula sends it wide, Milton dispossessed, but no harm done as Garcia sends it out for a throw. Garcia's quite deceiving in that regard. She's athletically very good and puts in a huge amount of work defensively. I've experienced that firsthand. You see Garcia closing down the space. Well, his side won 4-0 away to Tottenham Hotspur in December. Very comfortable success at Brisbane Road. Blundell, Toon, Mallard and Ladd with the goals. It was a different story just a month ago in Lee, a 2-2 draw between the sides. Manchester United rescuing a point and avoiding a first ever defeat against Tottenham thanks to Letizier's 92nd minute equaliser, which perhaps shows the way that the seasons have panned out for the respective clubs. Yeah, I'd absolutely agree. Certainly in Spurs' sense, I think they've really developed as the season's progressed. They've grown in confidence, and probably just a little more time working under the new manager this season to understand what he's asking of different players. You look at some of the goals they've managed to score and sort of the form they've found of late. They've probably been one of the top performers, certainly in the second half of the season. Back from Blundell to Mary Earps, who of course
Has very fond memories of this stadium after that England Euro win. Wonder where she might be plying her trade next season, though, with the rumours continuing to circle about clubs circling around her signature.
Yeah, credit to her, you know, she's very, very professional, and I think there's been a lot of those rumours for a very long time, and you have to say their performances are very, very, very inconsistent, are very, very rarely inconsistent. And I think she does an excellent job with that, because it's not easy when there's those things ongoing all the time. As a player, you much prefer that security, knowing what's happening, and credit to her, she's a very, very consistent performer, and you know, whoever has her signature next, if it is United or somewhere else, then they'll be very lucky to have her.
It's clear she was amongst those turning out for Manchester United today, who started that FA Cup final defeat to Chelsea here last May. And rather than not wanting to dwell on the outcome of that game for United a year ago, Mark Skinner was talking about the fact that they will actually try and utilise it. He wants to use that hurt to spur the side on. Williams has got the ball in, away by James Turner. Big boost for Tottenham that she managed to shrug off the injury that forced her to miss the Everton match. Galton. Blundell, under pressure from Naz, goes back to Earps. Letizia. Garcia almost got the wrong side of Milden, and now the flag is raised.
It feels like the game's just settling down into a rhythm that it's possibly more likely going to take for the next 10 to 15 minutes. I think probably almost every player's had a touch of the ball, and you can just see the nerves starting to settle. Spurs, I think, have probably given a good account of themselves. United probably a little more structured in how they're trying to build, but Spurs have done a good job in breaking up play, trying to make it difficult for United, and the more they do that, I think the more they'll grow into it as well, and hopefully get some opportunities for themselves.
England chasing this. Letizia jockeys it behind successfully. Played every single minute this season, Letizia. That's consistency there for you.
Yeah, I think she's been one of maybe Mark Skinner's top signings since she joined. I think she's a young player with a huge amount of talent. She's obviously already playing some very, very good football, but you'd expect at her age that she's got some of her very best years still to come. So she's well placed to become a player for United that's maybe someone that can be part of that driving force to bring them a team that does become a team that wins a lot of silverware.
Riviere lost possession in a bad area, and Spurs looking to try and make the most of it. Good ball in towards Martha Thomas, and behind for a goal kick. Well, that was Spurs' first real sniff of a chance, and she's convinced it should have led to a corner.
Yeah, no, I can understand why she's convinced, because I'm pretty certain she flicks that onto Letizier's head. You just see here as the ball delivered, it's a good run to the front post, and yeah, she gets there first, but it's well defended in the end. It's difficult when strikers run across you like that. You can see my Letizia just heads that one out, and the referee's got that one wrong, but mistakes happen for everybody.
Well, they lost their last game 1-0 at Liverpool on Sunday. Manchester United, that ended a run of 4 games without a defeat, 3 successes in that period, and it was also a rare blank that they drew in front of goal, having scored in all 30 matches before that, as Garcia nearly gets there ahead of Becky Spencer. Thomas's control just lets her down.
You see Garcia there again. She literally will chase down everything, and it's not typically what you see all the time from strikers. They don't always love that part of the job, but she's somebody who I think she actually gets a lot of opportunities for herself and for other players by just doing that work. You know, whether sometimes you end up just getting a throw in further up the pitch, it's not always glamorous, but it can start something that leads to something better.
She was on from the bench in the cup final defeat to Chelsea last year, the Spanish international, in from the off this afternoon, and perhaps that just gives her a bit of extra edge.
Yeah, possibly. For me, she's a very, very threatening player. She's as I say, deceivingly quick, but just her technical ability, she's very good 1v1, she'll protect the ball. She's very, very tough to mark. She's one of the players who I think, you know, it's difficult to get credit in a team that's full of good players, but possibly she isn't spoken about all the time just because it, you know, as you've mentioned, there's so many other people you can speak about, and so many other people have contributed to United's goal tally this season so far too.
Millie Turner, her and Letizia is such a regular combination at the heart of that Manchester United defence. It's a useful ball for Wilson to chase and get it in. And again, there is Garcia hassling and harrying and forcing a corner.
Yeah, that's just what I mean. You know, it's probably a reverse ball inside that, you know, it's quite easily cut out, but just then the decision to go after it, that immediate response to, you know, not be disappointed you've not got it, try and win something. You see there, she just forces the error, and now it's an opportunity. You know, we saw what happened the last corner, potentially United should have scored, so let's see what this one brings.
Well, I imagine there might be a bit more attention on where Rachel Williams is going here, although that cluster of United players are trying to shield her. Williams is in the mix again, and got her head to it again, but once again sends it wide. Yeah,
she's a threat. She's such a threat from these balls. She gets up really, really well this time. It's a little more difficult. You can see there's sort of 3 Spurs bodies all around her. In fairness to her, she still gets very clean contact on it, and I'd say it's unfortunate. I think the last one, she's probably thinking she should have done better. There, I think she's very unlucky that doesn't land on target, and I think if it did, Becky Spencer would be doing well to keep that out.
Well, the last goal she scored was in the FA Cup in the semi-final victory against Chelsea last month. England. That's a very useful ball, which Riviere is across to try and get off Vinberg. Thomas. Haven't seen too much of Drew Spence so far. Neither Jessica Naz, who's worked it onto Neville. Naz. James Turner to Bula. Bit better from Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, really nice build-up play.
Sumanan finding Neville. Thomas was asking for it. Goes far post instead. Well, presentable opportunity after some patient Tottenham Hotspur approach work.
Yeah, that was great play from Tottenham. They bypassed the press initially from United and then eventually had composed possession. Ash Neville does well to get the ball in, possibly just arrived too early at the back post. That you see as the ball reaches Vinberg, she's static, so she doesn't quite have the opportunity to run at it and get a clean header. But lovely play from Spurs.
And Vinberg, the 21-year-old Swedish midfielder, keeping her place in the side today. Made her debut in the FA Cup in the victory against Sheffield United in January after her arrival that month. Bula, another fairly recent addition for Spurs, joining from Hoffenheim last summer. She has won a cup before, won the Swiss Cup with Zurich in 2018.
It's just become a little untidy from United, which isn't really like them. Just there, Letizia just forcing the ball forward. Spurs will feel quite content that they've probably just disrupted United enough. They've not found that early rhythm that when they do, they've been very dominant in a lot of games this season.
I mentioned that they drew a blank against Liverpool. They haven't failed to score before that since the FA Cup final defeat to Chelsea here last May. Not sure an all-black outfit is the right call on a day like today.
Yeah, we'll see how that progresses as the game continues. I'm going to say I'm hoping for a half-time change rather than the shirt being removed, I think.
I think we all are. Garcia loses out. Back it goes from Spence. Collected by James Turner, but then Williams was all over her. Neville can tidy things up for Tottenham.
Yeah, just a bit too casual there from Amy James Turner. She's just deliberated a little too long, and Rachel Williams doing what we've already spoken about, doing that harried work where you just press the ball, and it came to nothing, but Spurs need to just be aware of that.
Naz might be interested in this. Well, she's got pace, but not quite enough to get on the end of that.
Yeah, not quite, but a nice idea, and the Spurs have done that a lot, just suck the United midfield in. Nice little combination centrally, and then looking to just switch the ball into wide areas where they do know they have pace. They have players that are very tricky.
Well, she's already popped up with a massive goal in this competition this season, that 83rd minute equaliser in the semi against Leicester, which she took oh so well. Neville. Thomas is interested, but Earps will gather safely. A lot of rotation amongst that front line. We were trying to work out what the formation was going to be, but Thomas and England have sort of been switching here and there.
Yeah, and they're almost right now playing as that front two, and in behind them is more like a 4-4-2 shape, which we haven't seen too much. I think even with Drew Spence there, she naturally likes to have the ball higher up as well, but she's had to play a more disciplined role. You just see her now getting close to Nasland, who we know can be dangerous if you give her space and time. She's a dynamic player. But yeah, it's an attacking start from Spurs, and we're seeing that in how the game's sort of flowing.
Lovely touch by Toon, but then Neville got back at her. It's come back to Ella Toon. On for Williams. Garcia waits in the middle, and Neville pops it behind for a corner.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be an opportunity to get the ball in. Rachel Williams maybe just didn't quite expect it to come back to her, and opted to kind of just shield it almost and force Ash Neville into putting it out for a corner. Maybe she fancies herself, maybe it'll be third time lucky.
Well, they've been a threat from corners. Zellum's put this into a handy area, and once again there's a problem, and Garcia is denied from virtually on the goal line. Well, it's really, really good defending, but Manchester United are causing Tottenham Hotspur headaches whenever they get a corner kick.
Yeah, it's exceptional in the end by Sumanen, who I think clears off the line. It's Millie Turner this time at the back post. I mean, she comes from nowhere, and she sees this is bouncing in the 6-yard box, it's dangerous, and she just prevents Garcia from managing to get her head and literally head in and into an open net from 2-3 yards out. It's fantastic defending. It's her job's marking Laetitia, and she just sees the danger so quickly and gets across.
Thomas. Naz. There's Turner for company. Spence. James Turner. Bula. Now Nilden. Collected by Vinberg. Drawn their last 3 matches, Tottenham. They fought back from 2 down against Everton on Saturday. Spence with one of the goals, England with the other. Also shared the spoils with Brighton and Manchester United in that 2-2 draw last month. And they were winning until stoppage time. And Villahan was saying that that is something that they can take belief from going into this game.
Yeah, I think both teams come in with a little bit of mixed form, and it's how you look at it. You're trying in these occasions spin everything to be something that can be in your favour. I think Spurs will feel good having lost 4-0 earlier in the year to this team, to then manage to, whilst you lose a late goal, you'll feel disappointed. I think you can see the growth in that result, and even just in terms of league positioning, you know, there's not too much between these teams. And like I say, probably both of them feel this is an opportunity for them to really make this season 1 this memorable.
Galton. Like a trip from Neville, advantage played. Galton for Lisa Nelson. cut out by Neville. Jessica Naz now. Vinberg. Nilden getting up there, but not getting away from Toon, who's kept the ball in, but then given it away cheaply. Early for Naz, but there's far too much on that.
Yeah, they've looked for that ball a few times, that diagonal into Naz. And she has got pace, but so does Blundell, so I probably think the service into her needs a little bit more culture. I think the ball needs to probably be fed in, maybe not such a long distance. Give Naz the chance to get the ball under control and really have a go at her.
And Garcia wanted the free kick, and eventually Abby Byrne has awarded it Manchester United's way.
I think this is a water break, I think.
Yeah, the temperatures have got to the level where cooling breaks are being brought in at the back end of the domestic campaign. Not just a chance for the players to take on some fluids, but also gives the managers an opportunity to get some tactical info out to them. I'm not quite sure who'll be the more concerned or the more pleased at the midway point in the first half.
Yeah, I think Tottenham will be more pleased at how the flow of the game's gone. I feel United haven't quite found that rhythm. We've sort of seen Toon in little moments, but she's not quite found the ball enough in the attacking third, I would say. And Spurs, I'm sure, have worked diligently this week to try and limit that. And same again with Garcia and Galton as the wide players. Normally they're very dynamic, and Spurs have done a good job to just limit the chances that they've had. So I think probably Spurs are happier. Nonetheless, this will absolutely be a time when there'll be a lot of information going to the players. You can see a lot of the staff will take the responsibility of addressing different things, getting as much information as you can to different parts of the pitch. But to be honest, it's very much the early stages of the game. I think both teams are playing in a manner that's almost about limiting the opportunities and trying to stay in the game, and that's what it's about. I'd say up until about half-time, you don't want to go into half-time and have a real uphill battle in your hands.
Liquids taken on board and instructions issued. And a swig for the manager as well. Letitia too high for Toon. Away by Nilden. Nelson pokes on for Garcia, who'll get to this and get it towards Williams, who nods it down, and Toon couldn't produce the finish. But once again, Rachel Williams, a nuisance in the air.
Absolutely, and it was the right decision. The ball comes in and she's moving away from goal, so opts to just try and nod that one down into Toon's path. Just sort of bounces away from her, you see here. Good ball from Garcia. Rachel Williams does well to get up, and you just see as it bounces, it skips off the surface, and Toon can't quite just take that in her stride and get a shot off. But one of the first times Garcia's got down that right, you've been able to put a ball in, and you can see how dangerous that can be with having someone like Rachel Williams in the central area.
That's a free kick Tottenham Hotspur's way, and Abby Byrne very quick to blow the whistle for the infringement.
Yeah, no malice in that one, but definitely a foul.
Unbeaten in their last 7 games, Tottenham Hotspur, 3 wins following back-to-back defeats to Arsenal and at home to Villa. The last 3 defeats only by a single goal margin, so they've been all competitive encounters that they've been involved in recently. Letitia, Turner, Riviere. Garcia back to the Canadian. Nelson. Sumanen trying to take it off her, but it's back to Jade Riviere. Millie Turner. On here for Blundell. Show too much of it to Naz. Spence. And it was well anticipated by Turner, but she did take it out of play.
Yeah, Millie Turner does well there to get across. Just an untidy touch from Blundell, just lets Naz in, and then little combination play to get into that space that she'd left in behind her. Millie Turner nice and sharply across and just deal with it. I think she tried to probably be a little bit cute and keep it in, but it rolled away. You know, sometimes that's the best thing as a centre-back. Ball's out, reset.
Forwards by Hannah Blundell. Now Galton. Again, Williams buzzing around. Couldn't quite make it stick there. Neville. Sumanen. Had to be quick to get across there. Nilden. Thomas on the half turn. Tissier does enough. Garcia might need a ticket to get back in after that challenge.
Yeah, she's wholehearted.
Still has the feel of a bit of a phony war with almost half an hour played, which is understandable given what's at stake and given that neither side has lifted the trophy before. Vinberg straight into the path of Zellem. Spence. Neville. England couldn't bring it under a spell, and Turner will go back to Earps.
Yeah, some untidiness on both sides there. Just turning the ball over under not a lot of pressure, and as you say, probably just the occasion. At this point in the game, normally coming up to 30 minutes in, I think someone said when they measured the temperature before the game, it was 32 degrees at grass level. So the players are probably just starting to feel that. And that's sort of when sometimes these little untidy mistakes creep in, and you know, you hope that doesn't lead to a goal, because I think that would be a shame for the game to be opened up in that manner.
Well, at the moment you want to be playing on the left-hand side for Manchester United or on the right flank for Tottenham, because that's where the shade is. Bolton chasing this. Zellem. Well, that's handy, and again Williams was up there, well defended on this occasion by Bula, and the flag is raised in any event. Yeah,
a lovely ball in by Zellem there. Just thinks it, guides it, just floats it up for Rach Williams. She's just straight offside a touch, but as the ball came in, I think it's actually been given for Galton earlier in the attack. But it's a wonderful ball from Zellem either way. She didn't know, and to be honest, you got to give credit as well to the defendant, because Buehler did fantastically to just keep an eye on Rachel Williams. She got close enough to not allow her too much leverage, and gets up and wins the header, and then of course the flag comes.
She was Tottenham's top scorer a couple of seasons ago, Rachel Williams, with 7 goals, 4 of them in the league. So some of the Tottenham squad will know all about her attacking ability. Thomas on her bike here. Letitia should deal with it. And Tottenham will feel that they've done well there to engineer the throw.
Yeah, sometimes they're tricky. You sort of see Earps initially thought about coming, then back pedals, and I think it's the right decision. See that out for a throw-in again, but for Spurs it's a nice opportunity to now be in that United half and try and create something.
Vinberg switched off from the throw there, United, but Riviere has it. Zellem clears it. Williams with Bula immediately onto her. Well, Robert Villaham said that he's been working his whole career to manage a match at Wembley. As a kid, this is the stadium that everyone spoke about when he was growing up in Sweden. And while he's desperate to enjoy a famous cup final success, he also admitted it's just about enjoying the ride at the moment, and he feels that Spurs are on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, I think I'm sure he's being a little bit humble in that statement too, because I certainly know he's prepared his team today with the hope and the belief that they can win this game. But it is a fantastic occasion, and I think to get here as a player, as a manager, as all the staff will feel it's a huge achievement. These are the opportunities you want to be involved in, you look back on in your career. And sometimes in these occasions you forget to enjoy it because you're so focused on trying to perform and trying to be prepared and not overhype it. But there is an element of, you should appreciate these moments because you never quite know when the next opportunity will come, if it will come.
Well, opportunities have certainly come for Manchester United from dead balls so far. And here is another one that Zelen will try to put onto the head of Rachel Williams. In fact, they've fooled everyone and gone to Toon. Held up by Naz. But it will be a Manchester United corner.
Yeah, nice little move that. I think Jess Naz was actually very switched on to it. She initially does block Toon's run. She doesn't quite get the freedom to get there with much time. And in the end, it's a corner which she'll be disappointed with. But she does really well to stay switched on to that because that could have been dangerous.
Well, they've had 4 so far, Mark Skinner's side, and they've been dangerous from all of them. And here's another chance. Thomas off the line to deny Turner. Tottenham Hotspur having all sorts of problems when Manchester United have had corners. They'll be relieved that that can be grasped by Becky Spencer, but another close shave there.
Yeah, it's remarkable, really. United have a threat from set pieces, absolutely. Both centre-backs are very good in there. Rachel Williams is one of the best. But to have had 4 such clear-cut chances from every set piece is incredible. And just very diligent defending, and probably an element of luck too that Martha Thomas was in the right place at the right time.
A little bit sloppy there, mind. Galton for Zelen. Turner. Zelen to Riviere. Zelen again. Just get the feeling Manchester United might be beginning to take control of the game. Galton got there ahead of Neville. Poke back to Ella Toon, who was expecting Zelen to make the run, but she just checked it at the last minute. Launched by Drew Spence, and covering was Blundell.
Yeah, you just see the pace there, and I do think Spurs will need to be a little bit more creative in order to get her in behind. I think those straight balls will very much be something that, as a left back, she's going to be more than comfortable dealing with it. She'll probably welcome the chase because she'll rely on her speed and know that she can more than match it.
Yeah, Letitia straight to Luana Pula, through Spence into Naz, who's had no change out of Blundell so far, and doesn't get a free kick out of Abby Byrne either. Galton. Toon, another useful ball. Simonen doesn't get it very far away. Riviere. Early ball in from her. Has too much on it.
Yeah, poor delivery in the end. It's difficult when you're running away from the wide channel to try and then first time put it in. I think she might want to take a touch there, and it's a wasted opportunity. Just getting a chance now to watch that corner again, and I just don't think Spurs can allow players like Millie Turner, Rachel Williams to have that run at the ball. It's so difficult to compete in the air when you give them that run up, but that's not disrupted. And you just see Martha Thomas goes from front post, drops in on the goal line, and manages to get that clear.
Well, it was a half-hearted appeal for handball, but VAR didn't see fit to get involved.
Yeah, I think that one would have been harsh, but as we both know from a season of VAR, that sometimes they do look at those and sometimes you get unlucky.
Well, I think Tottenham could do with half-time, because Manchester United have come close on a couple of occasions to taking the lead and are generally seeming to find their rhythm.
They are. They certainly have had slightly more of the play. In saying that, they have relied on set pieces to create opportunities, and that's quite unlike them, having, you know, watched them this season, played against them. Normally they're very, very dominant, especially on the ball, and I think, you know, they're quite happy for Spurs at the moment to have the ball. And Spurs have probably been quite good at creating more opportunities from that open play, but there hasn't been too much for us to talk about other than those few headers, and I think that maybe is just the occasion.
England couldn't make that stick. Spurs will have the throw. Always likely to be a game of fine margins in the view of Mark Skinner. Admits that they are under pressure. They are the team who have, by and large, the better talent within their ranks, but he was always warning that Spurs wouldn't be a pushover.
No, certainly not, but one thing that will maybe become interesting is I think Mark Skinner does have perhaps more options off the bench to give the side something different should they need it at different points, and that might be the test for Spurs as the game continues. You know, dealing with fresh legs, dealing with players that offer a different challenge, certainly in that final third area.
Blundell going for goal, not fully away, Toon! Well, by her standards, that's a good opportunity.
A very good chance. She just doesn't quite get her timing right, but that is a huge chance. We've seen her score those types of goals for both club and country. It's probably an ambitious shot initially. Blundell's not probably known for scoring 30-yarders, but that's what happens. You take shots in these games, it breaks, it falls for Toon inside the box, and it's a difficult chance, but it's one that I know she would feel that she can finish that. She just, as you can see, it comes off almost the toe, doesn't quite get her foot wrapped around it. She's looking to just whip that into the far corner.
Manchester United's all-time top scorer, Ella Toon, 52 goals. That should have been 53 there, but you can see from the numbers that Manchester United monopolising the opportunities in the cup final. Well, that's heavy from Thomas, and Spurs have lost it in a bad area once again. Neville ensures that there's no damage done, but they've just been getting sloppy.
Yeah, and there's possibly, you know, as well with Martha Thomas, she is typically a 9. She wants to be higher up, and you know, she's lost the ball there, where normally if she's playing 9 you're 10, 15, 20 yards further forward, it's not quite as dangerous. You lose the ball there though centrally when you don't quite have that midfield protection, and that's when a side like United are going in one pass potentially create something really dangerous. You've got to be so careful.
Naz managed to skip away from Zellum and got clear of Nelson as well. That's an intelligent pass as well, but that isn't. Well, Milton there should really be doing better. Much
better. I mean, that's an opportunity to allow our side to get up the pitch, keep the ball in United half. You know, there's no need to sort of rush. It's not a transition. You're not trying to counter-attack. You're trying to create these opportunities. And I'm not quite sure what she actually saw there, what she was trying to play, but she's so much space ahead of her. She's certainly time to sort of take a touch and drive forward and try and wait for something a little more dangerous to open up.
Maya Letitia. Riviere got that on towards Garcia. In step Pula. Flick forwards by Galton, and Toon thought about having a crack, and then the indecision allowed Neville to nick it off her.
Yeah, and you can see how annoyed she is. She's a player that plays with her emotions on her sleeve, I'd say, and when you're in amongst her and around that midfield area, she gets very frustrated with herself at times, especially in those scenarios. I think she went to shoot, changed her mind, and by the time she changed her mind, the ball just sort of fell away from her, and in the end she sort of did nothing, and that'll be why she is frustrated. But I would say in the last couple of minutes we've seen a lot more of Ella Toure, and I think that's a sign that United are starting to become the team that's doing a little bit more and pushing a little more as this half comes to the last few minutes.
Spencer, certainly the busier of the two keepers in the first half. Mary Earps with precious little to do thus far. Spencer. Given away by Vinberg. Garcia. Busy as ever, but she was ambushed, outnumbered, and Tottenham come forwards now. Will it reach Naz? It will. She seemed a bit hesitant to try and take on Blundell there.
Yeah, Blundell's a very good 1v1 defender, like I say, and I think Naz probably, you know, she likes to get the ball and get it out her feet and be able to, you know, use that pace. And against someone like Blundell, I wonder if it's at any point they may switch sides, because I do think in that capacity, I think Blundell possibly feels like she can match her, and that's why there it looks like she's scared to go against it. But I think it's just good positioning defensively to just eliminate the opportunity to try and get in a race and then force the ball backwards. And that's what you said as a defender, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to just limit the opportunities of being exposed, and you know that I think probably Blundell deserves credit in that scenario.
That's a handy pass. Really good stuff from Nilden. And the ball in, Thomas couldn't quite bring it down. Well, Spurs showing their teeth a little there.
Yeah, I think Nilden couldn't get the ball in first time, so she chops it back, and her right foot just isn't quite able to put a ball into a dangerous area. Thomas tries to, you know, take it down, but again, just comes to nothing.
Williams, somewhat heavy touch, but Zellam's turned it into something handy for Garcia. Garcia, it's a good challenge, but it's come here for Nelson, who makes an absolute mess of her attempt. Toon will keep it moving. Neville with the half block, Williams. Spurs get it half away. Zellam, he's going to have a dip, and straight in on her was Drew Spence.
Yeah, good defending, saw the danger, got out to it quickly.
Walton. Tissier, ambitious.
Yeah, that's doing the centre-backs no favours in terms of our shooting prowess. But I think, you know, even just looking at positioning, as soon as United start to dominate, that's a centre-back receiving the ball 25-30 yards from the Tottenham goal, and that's what they try and do, United. Once they get foothold in the game, they really try and suffocate you and make it very difficult to get out. And you can even see here, you know, yeah, we're approaching the very final stages of this half, and Spurs have gone, do you know what, let's squeeze up, we're just going to kick long.
Turner's header, Galton couldn't get a touch. Ash Neville. Sumanen. Going to have 3 additional minutes at the end of the half. Not enough on that to find Sumanen. Nelson wants the throw and gets the throw. Well, I think he would be happy to get in at the interval with the scores all square and then reassess and recalibrate and get set to go again after the interval.
Yeah, I think he'll be pleased. You know, you look stats-wise, there's not much in terms of possession, but if you look at good opportunities, I think United have caused Spurs problems. Probably only had their first opportunity in open play fairly recently, but in terms of set pieces, I think that's something that he'll want to address very quickly. I think both managers to a degree will be happy. As I say, you know, you don't want to be in a situation at half-time where you feel you've got an uphill battle ahead of you, and it's kind of poised quite nicely. I think both sides have, there'll be a bit more freedom in the second half. Naturally, the game, I think, will open up a bit more.
Across here for Naz. Will she take on Blundell this time? She decides not to and coughs it straight up to Nelson. Well, that's a good challenge by Thomas, but Riviere can guide it home to Earps. Blundell. Oh, risky. England was nearly in. Here's Spence. Now Jessica Naz. Might be the last play of the half. Spence to Naz. It's a bit sloppy by Naz, and Zellum can send it on. Nelson. Into Ella Toon. Room to work with here for Ella Toon. And still Ella Toon. Oh! Tremendous from Toon to give Manchester United the lead in the cup final with a cracker. A goal fit for any major final, and it gives Mark Skinner's side the lead on the stroke of half-time. That is simply tremendous from Toon, and it's Manchester United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
Yeah, just seeing a glimpse of her face there, she still looks frustrated about that from that one 7 minutes ago or whatever it was, that she didn't get her shot away, and it comes from a giveaway, and United are just so fast to transition. You see the ball here, Zellum calms it down, finds that ball that releases play, and you know, Toon receives the ball not far inside, well, I think it's just inside the Spurs half. No one's there to close her down. Spurs are too expansive. Suhonen slides in. Wow, wow. The ball's outside the width of the goal until it just curls back round at the last second. That is exceptional. I think a goal like that is one that you absolutely want to score in an FA Cup final, that's for sure. And that's a magnificent finish, and it's a reflection of the quality that someone like Ella Toon really has.
United's all-time top scorer and appearance maker has made a big difference in the cup final. What a time to score, and what a way to score. Don't you just love it?
Yeah, just about got a smile there, and she's ran over to the section, I'm pretty sure it's where all their family are sitting. I mean, I've absolutely no doubt, being an England international, she absolutely loves playing here. She's great memories already for somebody so young, and that's just one you can add to it.
Well, it's been a half that has not really ebbed and flowed, but the climax to the first period was well worth hanging around for. Ella Toon with a thumping strike to give Manchester United the advantage. And overall, it's a goal that has been coming. Well, if he is looking for an omen, he will not be pleased to hear that the team scoring first has gone on to lift the trophy in 23 of the last 25 finals. Ella Toon's fabulous strike, the difference then as we start the second half, and while we know that there will be history made with a new name on the Women's FA Cup today, the strike from Toon also means there has still never been a 0-0 draw in the Women's FA Cup final. James Turner. No changes from either of the sides during the interval. Didn't expect any from Manchester United. Thought that maybe Spurs might shuffle their pack, but decision from Robert Villahan to stick with what he's got for now. And there might have been a switching of the flanks, though, as somebody in close proximity to me suggested that there might be.
Yeah, I think in the first half, Jess Naz didn't get much change out of Hannah Blundell. I think both players physically are very, very good. It was difficult for Naz to really, she didn't get much quality service, but nonetheless, anytime she did get it, she was never quite able to push the ball past Blundell and really give it a go. So I think that's really why they've changed. I really like Vinberg in the first half. She's the opposite side to us and we're quite high up, so it was difficult to get a close eye on her, but her first touch was very tidy. I felt most of Spurs' danger came from down her side, with a combination of her and then Nilden, who does well to get forward as well. So interesting to see how that might change things up, and just ask Manchester United defence just a few more different questions.
Here's Naz, now operating on the left-hand side and perhaps trying to get a bit more change out of Jade Riviere than she did from Hannah Blundell.
Which won't be easy either. Another forward, Canadian international, also very, very good physically, athletically. You've got to have a little trick in your locker to probably cause her problems too.
Nilden's throw. Thomas can't get there ahead of Zellum. Well, one at the back by Bula, but illegally, in fact, it will be a free kick.
Yeah, I have a bit of sympathy for Bula there. It's one of those frustrating ones. Rachel Williams just having to shift her feet and running backwards, and you sort of just have to almost to brace yourself. Your arms literally, I mean, her arms barely come up there. I think that's very soft, but Rachel Williams has played the game a long time. She knows how to buy those.
Letizia. That's towards Garcia. And won the header strongly. Bula almost lost out to Garcia. Gets it forwards to England. Nilden. Now Naz. Spence. Sumanen. Martha Thomas clips it towards England. Tissier's header wasn't ideal. Garcia clubs it away. Bula. Well, early days, but it looks as though Spurs have shifted about 10 yards up the pitch.
Yeah, good start. Bit more promise, being a little more in the front foot. The ball there up to Beth England, who we've not seen much of. Again, she's just trying to set that one first time. I think that probably our team need her to hold that in just a little longer, allow players to get closer to her.
Well, a change right at the start of the second half here, which you assume means that somebody was carrying a bit of a knock and is unable to continue, and tears for Leah Galton as she departs. So I imagine that it's something they discussed at half-time, because that wouldn't have been a scheduled switch, would it?
No, I wouldn't have thought so, and you can tell by probably her reaction. She looks very upset, and I wonder if that was from the very opening minutes when she had that collision with Becky Spencer, and sometimes just when you stop at half-time, you picked up a knock like that, it just sort of stiffens up and it makes continuing maybe not quite possible. And it's a shame, because you never want to see someone leave a cup final for those reasons, but she leaves with her team in the lead and she can feel that she's contributed to that.
Melvin Mallard, the French international on a season loan from Lyon, replacing her. Garcia nearly got away.
Really good defending from... yeah, they're just going to deal with this, I think, just about. Really good defending there from Bueller, just allows Garcia to go 1v1 and then makes a great decision to step in and just throw the ball away from her.
Blundell back to Turner. Mallard, the first substitute brought on then. Three-time French Cup winner with Lyon, and scored in that 2-2 home draw with Tottenham last month. That was her last goal, in fact. Sumanen towards Thomas, who nudges it on handily. Vinberg. Thomas jostling with Zellum. It's a Tottenham ball.
Surprised Thomas didn't fancy her chances there just against Katie Zellum. She's got a good bit of pace, Martha, just with the ability to stride out, and I think someone like Zellum might have struggled if she tried to sort of push that down the line, but maybe also an element of she's probably done a lot of running today, that in that slightly deeper position she maybe is feeling a little bit.
Bula lifts it handily to Nilden. On here for Jessica Naz, but Letitia will deal with that, will she? Well, no whistle, so Naz has collected the ball again. Letitia does get it away this time.
She should have got up quicker. I think she lay on the ground and didn't realise that Letitia then tripped over her, and I think had she just bounced up on her feet, she actually would have then had the chance to dribble the ball into the United penalty area. But I think it's certainly a foul. But yeah, neither player realised probably, and I think if Naz had gotten up, United might have been in a little bit of trouble there.
Nilden for Bula. Thomas. James Turner. Neville. Mallard. Toon. Still no save to make for Mary Earps so far. Short for Letitia. Riviere. Garcia has got there first and then gone over. Abby Byrne has given her the free kick.
Yeah, I was going to call it the lino. I don't think we can say that in commentary. that's some bad training habits. But yeah, a little unfortunate, I think there. But again, an opportunity now for United to put another ball into the box.
Well, we speculated about whether there might be some changes. Spurs are preparing a couple. I wonder if they'll wait until after the free kick is taken. The answer is no. They're going to make them now. So we're going to see the China international Wang Shuang come on. Hasn't had many minutes in a Tottenham shirt. And Bizet, who many thought might start today, does come on, and Jessica Naz, who's struggled to really make an impact, departs.
Yeah, attacking changes, you can understand that. I think they want to go for it. You want to finish a cup final, though, you've given it everything, and Naz had a tough time in the first half. She didn't really get the chance to get up and running, and obviously she'll feel disappointed.
In it goes from Zelen. The queuing up again, and it's number 2. And this time, Rachel Williams has used her head to find the net. Passed up a few chances before the interval, but has now put Mark Skinner's side on the brink of an FA Cup final victory, because they lead Tottenham Hotspur by 2 goals to 0, and it is the former Spurs player who has given them breathing space at Wembley.
Yeah, it's almost iconic, Rachel Williams. I can't believe Spurs haven't addressed it. She's had 3 chances, third time lucky for her. It's excellent delivery. Zelen puts it into an area so consistently well. I think it's probably a good job Millie Turner doesn't go for it, because I think she would have been offside, but it's floated in. Becky Spencer just comes across to that far post as well, and it means she has no chance with a header back across goal. And I just can't believe Spurs are allowing players like Rachel Williams, Millie Turner to have so much time inside the box. It's a ball that United are saying we're just going to float it into an area. I think VAR are going to look at it, I think.
Well, his celebrations might just have to be tempered, although we're back on the way, so we've got on our monitor that VAR were looking at it, but they've obviously stopped looking at it because play's recommenced and the goal is good.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it was Millie Turner that was offside, and she doesn't not go for the ball. She's certainly in the mix of players, but I think she realised that she couldn't get to it, was why she didn't really go for it. But she was in amongst the group that were around the ball, and they've obviously decided she wasn't interfering. But yeah, it's just iconic. Rachel Williams, she must have scored so many goals like that in her career. She's so dangerous in the air. I mean, if she doesn't head the ball, she normally heads somebody, but by pure accident. She's a very honest player. But she will throw herself into anything, and she missed a couple in the first half that she'll be so disappointed about, but she's managed to get that one. She's had a fantastic year you know, there's not too many players. She won't thank me for saying this, but there's not too many players left in WSL as old as she is. But the fact she's able to still perform at this level for a club like Manchester United is a huge credit to her.
36 years young, Rachel Williams. And speaking from experience, that's no age.
It gives me hope.
Well, she continues her fine record in the competition this season. 5 goals in 5 games in the FA Cup. 1 in the semi, 1 in the 4th round, 1 in the 5th, and here's another for United, and that is the FA Cup in the bag for them now. Lucia Garcia and Tottenham Hotspur are falling apart here. A horrible moment for them, a wonderful moment for the Manchester United fans. Silverware is heading Manchester United's way because they lead the FA Cup final by 3 goals to 0.
Yeah, it's a mistake, and we said before it would be a shame for that to ruin the game. We're not going to say it's ruined it because I think United have earned that 2-goal lead they had before now, but Becky Spencer she tries to play it first time, and as the ball's coming across her body, it just starts to get away with her. And we spoke about Garcia in the first half. She'll chase down everything. She runs after balls that you think, why would she even bother? And she does it because this reason here, you know, she receives the ball with a mistake with a wide open net from 8 yards out, and I think we'd all love to have that opportunity at Wembley to score a goal like that, but it's because she does it 9, 10, 11 times. That's not the first time she's chased down a ball, and that's the reward that she gets.
Well, presented on a plate, and he is thinking about getting his hands on a cup. Lucia Garcia, Manchester United rampant. They scored a terrific opener from Toon, a set-piece goal from Williams, and then gifted one to Garcia by Tottenham Hotspur. And it is turning into a Wembley nightmare for Spurs now. Toon. One of the most crushing things for Tottenham is that the 2 changes that they made have become pretty obsolete because of the 2 goals that they've conceded since the introduction.
Yeah, and the second one, I mean, the second goal was scored immediately after those 2 subs, and I was almost going to say, I wonder, you know, is it just a myth that people don't like to make changes as you're defending a set piece? And I suppose that proves the point. It's maybe a dangerous time to make those changes, although I think the problems that Spurs have endured in these set pieces have been consistent from the start, and maybe it was coming anyway, but it's frustrating if you do come into the game like that. You know, you're coming on at 1-0 to hopefully make a difference, and within a few minutes you find yourself 3-0 down.
Well, contesting the FA Cup final today, they will both have a say in the WSL title race as well, with Tottenham's next game against Chelsea, who have the fate of the title back in their own hands after Manchester City's defeat to Arsenal. And Chelsea's final game of the league campaign is at Manchester United at Old Trafford. And there's been a bit of history between United and Chelsea over the years, so they could have a very satisfying end to the campaign, shall we say, with it looking almost certain that they'll be lifting the FA Cup today.
Yeah, and I think a result today and a good performance and a good result and lifting the trophy will absolutely give them the right momentum to go into that. And they need to probably get the result, I think, for themselves, and to feel good about the season that's probably otherwise been quite frustrating, you could say.
And amongst all of the commotion, Nikita Paris came on for Rachel Williams. So Manchester United able to have the luxury of, with an hour or so played, bringing on their top scorer this season from the bench.
Yeah, and that's just that, you know, it's Manchester United. They have got depth. They have got, you know, a fantastic 11 that started the game, and they have players that can ultimately come on and change it. And I think it was fantastic to see Rachel Williams start the game. I think she'd earned that in this competition. But equally, Nikita Paris has had a great, you know, season so far. I think in the league, she certainly started as one of the most on-form strikers. And I was almost surprised she didn't come on wide when Leah Galton went off, but she's now come on the pitch, and I think for her as well, knowing what those players are like, she'll want to come on and score. That's ultimately what forwards do. You know, if they've not got the opportunity to start the game, they want to come on and prove their point. So it won't get any easier for Spurs, despite the fact, you know, the game feels like it's comfortably in United's hands.
Fun in the sun for those of a Manchester United persuasion. Neville with the throw. Thomas. Manchester United seem hungry for more. Determined to make this FA Cup final one that they will remember for many, many a year. Yeah. Neville with the heavy touch. Mallard too strong for her. And here's Toon looking for a fourth for United and gathered safely by Becky Spencer.
Yeah, good hands from Spencer. I think she'll appreciate that. She obviously made the mistake for the goal, and you know, she'll feel awful about that one, and just a nice comfortable save there, nice safe hands as well, and just scoops up.
Bizet, who have a bit of fire in her belly after starting the game amongst the substitutes.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at that. I think she's a fantastic player. Very, very difficult to play against. You know, she's great feet, very powerful athlete, and has played a big part of Spurs this season so far. She's still got the opportunity now, and that's what Spurs will have to do. You have to keep going, you have to try and find a way not to panic, and just work your way to try and get yourself a goal and find something to cling on to and go from there.
Well, this could be a long final half an hour for Spurs, because Paris and Mallard look full of energy and endeavour, having just come on from the bench, and Garcia is still doing her job of hassling and harrying. Bizet asking a bit too much of Nilden.
Yeah, they don't need to panic, but they need to probably sharpen up. I think they've just about got away with what could have been a promising attack, a good build-up, and they've got thrown out of it. You maybe just starting to, at 3-0, probably the back line are feeling a bit fatigued, a little bit frustrated. You start to maybe lunge at things or lash out. They need to just find a little bit of a rhythm and consistency and try and avoid that as much as they can, and allow the ball to be, you know, worked forward and then played in the United half.
Spurs considering making some more alterations. Garcia still with a pretty full battery by the looks of things. Nilden. Arthur Thomas coughs it up to Zellum. Paris. Turner. Letizia. Well, there is activity in the Spurs technical area, but it's as though they're still trying to make up their mind as to who's coming on and who's coming off. But a triple change imminent. Letizier's ball, too much for Garcia, and collected by Spencer.
I think Spence and Sutton in midfield have done a fantastic job, but I imagine it may be one of them, possibly Drew Spence is someone who might give way just now. Just the amount of running they'll have had to do, and it's really difficult to contain that United sort of central three that they have in that area. Martha Thomas obviously involved as well, but she's probably someone you think of higher up, but it's so much work. Both have done really, really good. We haven't spoken about either too much, but we can see sort of the ground that they've had to cover in order to try and keep this in.
Bizet making good ground, laid off to Nilden. Nilden's cross, handy, England off the bar, and Thomas on the follow-up couldn't put it away. Closest Tottenham have come to a goal all afternoon, and the Spurs skipper cannot believe she hasn't hit the target.
It's a huge chance, and I think almost similar to the one in the first half of Rachel Williams. She just doesn't quite get it underneath the crossbar, and then it's a lovely ball by Nilden, just clips it, gives Beth England a chance to attack it, and she's more than above it. She just unfortunately guides it right off the crossbar, and it just doesn't quite fall kindly enough to Martha Thomas either, who's normally very good in that rebound area with her head as well. But you see there, great leap. She should score, really. She really should score, and I think 65 minutes and 66 minutes on the clock, that possibly would have given them a lifeline, and you know, it would have really made the last 20-25 minutes interesting.
Spurs making those alterations then. Nilden, who produced that lovely ball, has been withdrawn, with Rosella Ayan replacing her. Kit Graham is also on, and Charlotte Grant is into the action as well. Riviere, free kick.
Yeah, I think those changes, just fresh legs really. Players who very similar to the ones that have made way, just hoping that some fresh legs and hopefully inspire a bit more of a promising attack in these last few stages.
Well, Spurs will be cheered by the fact that they pushed on to create that chance. The heads haven't dropped. They are still fighting and trying to find a way back into this cup final, even if all looks lost from the outside looking in. Bizet, who's been busy since introduction. Grant, Ayan and Graham on. Martha Thomas, Evelina Subanen and Amanda Nilden, the trio taken off. Grant, Garcia, looks as though she's just come on from the bench. She's
lively.
Yeah.
She's lively.
Turner, Nelson, coolly done to pick out Jade Riviere. Early ball in from her towards Paris. Garcia's in there. Paris collects. Spurs get it away. England. Tissier's come a long way to try and deal with her. Spence for Neville. And through the middle. Grant's up there too. Grant and Spurs are offside. That is the second half cooling break interval signalled by referee Abby Byrne, and smiles amongst the United contingent because they are 20 minutes plus stoppage time away from landing the FA Cup.
Yeah, they'll be feeling like they've probably just about done enough to say this game's done. You can't quite be sure, but I'd certainly say after 70 minutes, if you said before the game you'll be 3-0 up, they would have absolutely taken that. The second half has probably been similar to the first, to be honest. It's been fairly open. I think Spurs have given it a good shot, but just a little bit of carelessness and then that lack of discipline inside your own penalty area. You're not going to be able to give a side like United that many chances inside your penalty box. And you know, the second goal was, well, this is the first goal, which was a magnificent strike by Ella Toon, of course, well worthy of a cup final. But this second one from Rachel Williams, there was plenty warning signs that was coming, and then the third shortly after, coming from the mistake from Spencer, was sort of the sucker punch to that. Just few minutes that Tottenham lost a little bit of control, and in a spell of the game when United just capitalised on that, and almost that vulnerability of a side that maybe hasn't been on these occasions enough times.
Well, Serena Wiegman making some notes, perhaps. She knows all about Ella Toon, of course. Rare touch of the ball for Mary Oakes, who has been able to watch on without a great deal of alarm.
Yeah, she's had very little to do. She probably doesn't need to take this free kick, but she's probably just asked to just have a little shot.
Paris felt she was tripped, referee didn't. Ayan. Free kick again.
Ref could have probably let that one go, but she's called it back. So another opportunity for United to just settle things down, waste a few seconds.
Well, we saw Mark Skinner there, who is closing in on that elusive first piece of silverware. And it might just ease the pressure on him a bit after what has been a disappointing campaign in the WSL. You mentioned the resources that are available. Some will feel that they've fallen short of expectations as they look for another goal here. Mallard, great save. Well, Becky Spencer had that horror moment earlier on with a top block there. And from a neutral perspective, it's good to see that, to try and make her feel a bit better about life.
Absolutely. It's a good save. I think Mallard probably, she has a quick glance and, you know, she's not going to pass it from there, I don't think, anyway, but she is sort of on her own. I think if she squared it, it might have been cut out, and so she goes for a goal at the near post. As well within Becky Spencer's realm, you know, she definitely would expect to save that, but it's probably a nice one for her just after the fact, you know, she cost her team that goal that made it 3-0.
In comes the corner, and again Spurs a bit fidgety at the back, but now they might be away on the counter. Wang. Oh, they let themselves down with the final pass. That's happened a few times today. Cut out now by Toon. Garcia looking for her second of the game, but out comes Spencer to collect and find Neville.
Yeah, well marshalled by Buehler as well. Just tracked it on and made sure her keeper was going to get it. And she'd be very impressive, you know, a young centre-back that's come in this year. And it's not easy to settle into the WSL. It's a challenging league, and I would say she's done that. And today she's shown what she's about, and another player with several years ahead of her too.
Just going back to what I was saying about Mark Skinner, that it's been an underwhelming campaign in the WSL and obviously in Europe as well.
Yeah, there's an expectation, I think, at United that they should be competing certainly for the league, certainly for those Champions League spots, and I think the fact they did it.
Garcia, and Garcia again! 2 for her, 4 for Manchester United, and party time for the Reds at Wembley now. They are storming to their first piece of silverware. The FA Cup is heading to Manchester United, and they are doing it in style.
Yeah, they are, and it's a painful one for Spurs. I think 4-0's a tough reflection, but it's starting to get a little bit untidy again as we see the tired legs. It becomes something more apparent, and the ball from Mallard's not great, but it's not well dealt with by Spurs. You see Nazan there, she just follows in, she's trying to make it difficult, she doesn't let Spurs get the ball away. And it breaks to Garcia. I think just takes a little bit of a deflection, but I think it's going to go in anyway. And 4-0, and you know, it's probably, well, it's game over, isn't it?
Well, Garcia's last 2 goals had both come in the FA Cup, and she scored 2 in the Cup final today, has the Spaniard. And he will be able to relax and enjoy this final 15 minutes, as will all the Manchester United fans. It almost feels fitting that it is the Manchester United end that is bathed in sunshine, with the shadows over the Tottenham Hotspur side of support. And they're not done yet either. Mallard running at Neville, and Mallard, great footwork. Teed up perhaps for another for Garcia for a minute. Bizet, overhit. Blundell was dispossessed. It will be a Manchester United throw. Well, he said they were underdogs, but they have undone themselves at times today.
Yeah, they have. Just they'll be really disappointed about the goals. You know, that his opportunities from set pieces, that's very avoidable. The mistake obviously happens. That's a one-off. A keeper like Becky Spencer, she doesn't make too many of those, and it's a shame she's made one today. But otherwise, I think United have shown their class. Spurs probably haven't done enough, and there was the Bethany England header not too long ago, but otherwise I think they've just fallen short in having just that bit of quality that might cause United enough of a problem. And they are a top side. There was the 11 that started the game. They've brought players on that have, brought the energy, changed the game a little bit, caused Spurs problems when they've probably felt down off the back of the second goal, the third goal. So I think Marskin will be very pleased.
Well, it doesn't look as though Lucia Garcia is going to have the chance to bag a Wembley hat-trick. The Spaniard, one of the 3 players being taken off here and getting a massive ovation from the United fans and giving some back as well.
Yeah, she's liked by the fans, of course, but she's a well-liked character in the dressing room as well, I've heard. And it's nice when you see somebody like that who's got, a positive, a bright spirit, that, they get moments like this and they enjoy these occasions.
Won't get tired of seeing this back, will she? Well, Riviere, Toon and Garcia have gone off, and Jace, Mannion and Miyazawa are the 3 that have come on for what is turning into a procession. And Paris's ball in could easily have led to a chance for Miyazawa with her first touch to score.
It's not bad players to be bringing off the bench.
Tissia underneath that, the defence will certainly have their eyes on a Wembley final clean sheet. Malado, who has been full of running since coming on towards Paris, but too far in front of her. There are more goals in this if Manchester United want them.
Yeah, and Spurs just losing their discipline a bit there. Ashley Neville comes charging out and they're just picking them off. And it's difficult for Spurs because they made the attacking changes at the point when they were still in the game, and there's possibly now just too many gaps starting to appear. And with the United changes coming at probably a slightly more measured time with them with the upper hand, I think it's been difficult. And if I was Spurs, I'd probably just try and steady the ship a little bit. I don't think they need to be as expansive. It's a difficult one. You're playing a cup final and there's the emotions to it all, but you don't want to go ahead and lose 5 or 6. It's respectable to play against a side like United and not win the game. It's a huge credit that Spurs have got here, but the last thing they want to do is lose another couple in these final 10 minutes.
Well, it was 4-0 at Brisbane Road between the sides in December, and 4-0 at Wembley today. She started it for United. Of course, the pick of the goals, no doubt about that. Williams added to it, and Garcia then with the most recent 2. Miyazawa. Nothing for the challenge on Paris. Spence. Here's Ayan. Stood up by Turner. Neville. Oh, did that come off the arm of Zelen? There weren't really any appeals. Jays putting the squeeze on. James Turner. Neville. On away from Mala. Wang. Handy ball, England's gone over, but I think she just lost her footing rather than anything else.
Yeah, good play from Spurs. Real positive down the right-hand side. Ash Neville does well, just nice bit of field work to get away from Mallard. And it's just slightly overhit. Wang comes inside onto her left foot, and Beth England sort of stumbles over, but I don't think you're right, she wouldn't have got there anyway. But a nice little bit of play, and probably something that they'll cling on to and maybe just feel, can they build on that? A consolation goal, I still think, will be something that they would love.
Well, the Spurs fans have given up the ghost, perhaps understandably. At least it's not too far to get home. Zella, Mala. Look at the room here for Lisa Nelson. Tottenham wide open. Nelson driving into the space. Jez. Letizia. Zella. Zellum. Maya Letizia. Well, with your defender's hat on, you'll know that while the job is done for Manchester United, Turner and Letizia and co will be desperate to ensure that they don't concede.
Absolutely. They would be very disappointed to, you know, give Tottenham absolutely anything. The fact both of them, you know, they've probably been I would imagine, the most consistent partnership this season. And United defensively have looked very good today, and I think that's a big factor to that. You know, the consistency of the back line, they're very, very difficult to get through. They make it difficult to get clear opportunities, and both Turner and Letizia are responsible for that, not just in their own discipline and defending, but in terms of marshalling the others around them. And Zellum plays in front of them. She does that role very well. And the two of them I probably feel like they've had a very easy afternoon, but that doesn't mean it's not been done through hard work.
Zellum. That's really good work, but then the ball given away by Ayan. Neville up against Mallard. Well, after the desperate disappointment of last year, what a contrast for those Manchester United fans today.
Very much so. I was here last year too, and they turned up in numbers that day as well, and cheered their team right to the very end, and they were unfortunate. You know, it was a very close game last year's FA Cup final, and Chelsea just did enough to get the result in the end. But this year the fans will be much happier, and they've probably been singing for a much larger portion of the game too, with that goal at the end of the first half. But they'll certainly have enjoyed their day.
76,082 in attendance here this afternoon, slightly less than the attendance last year, but still a massive turnout.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's the standard now for the FA Cup, and you know, I think it's a massive marker that it's two different teams. I think there's some teams have set the bar themselves, the likes of Arsenal, you know, regularly selling out the Emirates, but this is two different teams, and we're saying, yeah, do you know what, this is now what we have to expect, that a game like this is going to be sold out.
Away by Jez, but didn't quite get the connection she was hoping for, so Tottenham have picked up a pretty cheap corner. Is his side's first corner of the match. The Spurs fans behind that goal still waving their flags and trying to suck the ball in for a consolation. Bizet's delivery. Turner got up, didn't get the touch, but it's going to be brought clear all the same. Mark Skinner's been speaking about the importance of bringing silverware to the club and trying to kickstart an era where these type of occasions become commonplace rather than infrequent ones to enjoy for the club. They won't be in the Champions League next season due to their poor WSL campaign, but they are finally going to have some silverware in the trophy cabinet.
Yeah, and they will be disappointed about the situation with the Champions League and not being in contention for that, but you know, if they weren't going to get that, then I think the one consolation would be silverware, and a club like United, I think, do need that. I think they've got the resources, as we've said, and it was what they achieved last year, I think, was exceptional. I think they had a fantastic season, and sometimes that's really difficult to replicate, especially how competitive the WSL has become.
Nelson having a go and sending it over the bar, but they're all trying to get in on the act now. He just wants the final whistle, you fancy. Still got a couple of games to play in the WSL, as Spencer nearly had a horrible case of deja vu.
Yeah, that was very casual given what happened earlier.
Bissett, it's gone straight out.
Yeah, and that maybe just sums up, I think, Spurs' day. Just not quite falling for them, just a little bit of lack of communication there, and a slightly mistimed touch, and it's been a frustrating day, I think, for Spurs. I think they'll feel like they did give it a shot, and things just haven't quite gone their way, and they've probably just not quite done enough to warrant the opportunity to still be in this tie.
Long from Pula. England won't get there. Nelson. Letitia. The Tottenham end has emptied as the minutes have ticked by, and that has revealed more and more red seats, so the stadium is looking very red indeed now. Blundell scooped up towards Gers, but Tottenham clear. Well, she's had a pleasant day in the sunshine.
Yes, she has. Although she maybe is a bit disappointed that she's not in the sunshine currently. Mary Earp said very, very little to do, and that probably tells the story as well. You know, just there hasn't been many chances for Spurs, and I don't really remember her having much to do other than that one that came off her crossbar that she could reach.
Mala. Cleared by Mannion. Bissett won't be able to keep that in. Last minute of the 90. Manchester United won't want the game to end, whereas Tottenham can't wait for the conclusion to come.
Yeah, I think both fans feeling totally differently about this, but they probably both realise the game's pretty much done.
Well, she's just been announced on the big screen as the player of the match, and a very popular choice. Earps. Mannion can't stretch enough to keep that in. All eyes now drift across to Kirsty Dowell to see how much additional time there will be at the end of the 90 minutes. And the answer is 6 additional minutes. Neville. Spurs, to their credit, keep on fighting. And here is England. Mallard. Nelson. Mannion. Collected by Katie Zellen. She was skipper for the cup final defeat last season. She'll be lifting the trophy shortly. Jace. Neville sticks in a boot. There's Wang. JS has got it. It was a bit of a lazy swing.
It was, and it sat up nicely on her right foot as she won the ball back, and then just almost didn't really fancy it.
It'll be a free kick. It might be a card as well. Indeed, Abby Byrne has gone to her pocket. Don't think that Anna Blundell will be too bothered. First yellow card of the game.
Yeah, it's been a game that I think's been played in the right spirit. I think, you know, Spurs could have probably tried to have a game plan that disrupted it a little more, but in credit to them, they've gone out, played their style, true to form.
Well, improvised attempted finish, which doesn't come off. I just wonder if Robert Villahan might look back at his selections today. We mentioned the fact that Bizet, it was surprising that she wasn't included from the off. The way that he set his side up. Of course, goals change games, and Toon's wonder strike that put Skidderside in front on the stroke of the interval changed the complexion, but I dare say he'll go back and wonder about what if.
Yeah, naturally you have to reflect, and of course when you lose a game you probably reflect a little harder than otherwise, but so much goes on in the build-up this week, and you know, it's more than just what's happened this week. There'll be other considerations, other games against United, the former players, little injuries. You know, it's possible that a couple of players maybe haven't been so fresh this week, and they made a decision based on the plan that individuals were better suited to what they wanted to do. So I don't think he'll have any regrets in that regard. They put an attacking lineup out. There was plenty of players that have had a good season, that have been key in what they've achieved so far. And when they've made changes to bring others on, unfortunately it fell just as United got that second and third, and that really was a sucker punch around the hour mark that just killed the game off.
Letizia. Manchester United soaking up the moment ahead of getting the moment that they have been waiting so long for. Paris. Free kick comes her way. And speaking of selections, some raised eyebrows that their top scorer Paris was left out and Rachel Williams started, but Mark Skidder has been proved correct with the goal that Williams scored, and generally the way that she's played.
Yeah, you can understand the questions, but at the same time, this has been a tournament or a competition that Rachel Williams has been exceptional in, and it's nice to see that that's been rewarded and getting an opportunity to start the game. She's a top professional, someone that is a sub more often than not, a great team player, does her job, comes on, makes an impact, and today she got the chance to start, which is ultimately what everyone wants for every game. And it's nice, I think, to see that today, you know, Mark Skinner rewarded her with that. And as you say, she did her job. She could have maybe had 2, maybe 3, but she did get her goal in the end, and she'll certainly, rightly so, feel very pleased.
England still chasing. Earps to Mannion. Managed to just about prevent it going out of play. Just a coming together there, no free kick. England took it neatly and might find a way through.
Yeah, it was unlucky there. You know, the ball didn't come at her at a very pleasant height. She got her leg up, her toe onto it.
England chasing this one again, but it rebounds favourably for Earps.
Yes, it's been tough for Beth England, I think, today. She's had to deal with balls like that, you know, coming at chest height, shoulder height, and trying to bring players into the game. It's a difficult position in a game like this when you don't have too much of the play. You're trying to make something out of scraps, and today just hasn't quite happened.
Zella, is there a final flourish in the final for Manchester United? Not from that pass, there won't be. That's a better ball, though.
Great ball.
Mallard. Mallard's cut back. Paris couldn't quite get there. Flags up anyway. a red letter day. Manchester United win their first piece of major silverware. Mark Skinner's team have torn Tottenham Hotspur apart, and those in red are going wild at Wembley after the heartbreak of last season against Chelsea. They have got the job done with something to spare today, and Manchester United are FA Cup winners 2024. Rachel, well deserved, and it could actually have been even more.
Yeah, it was United's day. I think when you look at just player for player, I think a lot of their players performed at a very, very high level, and that made it difficult for Spurs. You know, I think they would have had a chance if there was maybe an element of the game became open or a little mistake they could latch onto, but sometimes you've got to just credit the other team, and today I felt United were very, very solid throughout. The back line was exceptional. Mary Earps had very little to do, and then the threats they carry up front spoke for themselves, I think it's fair to say. Other than the mistake, the other goals were very good. Toon's opener was fantastic, and it's a day for them to remember. It's their first major trophy, and I would imagine this will hopefully be the start of a club that can push on from here and hopefully build a club that drives the women's game in this country.
The newest name on the Women's FA Cup is Manchester United. Full-time then at Wembley. Manchester United 4, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Well, what a difference a year makes, eh? They were leaving in sadness and disappointment in May of 2023 after losing the final to Chelsea. His side also came up short to Chelsea in the WSL, runners-up in the league and in the cup. And while the league has not been a source of positivity for them this term, they will be lifting the FA Cup in a very short space of time. And for Mark Skinner, it will perhaps relieve some of the pressure on him. He's spoken about how it is part and parcel of the job to be in the spotlight if things aren't going the way that they should be, and perhaps now he will feel that he has a bit more breathing space at the club.
Yeah, I think there has been some scrutiny, and you can understand that because the expectation of this football club is to win trophies. But today they've done that, and the focus today should be on that. They should get to enjoy the occasion, and Mark Skinner being the manager, he should enjoy the occasion too, along with his staff. You can see them all there behind the players, and there's a lot of them, and every single one of them have contributed to the outcome today. And that's what it's about. Everyone should enjoy these moments, and hopefully it does give them that opportunity to maybe feel good going into what will be the last game of the season next weekend, where the league hasn't been where they've had that success this year, but they do have a chance to play against a team who are the current champions, who want to try and win that trophy again. And I think for United to get a result next weekend off the back of today, I think is something else they can take away from this year.
It is a glorious afternoon at Wembley, and it is glory, glory, Manchester United. Full time here then, Manchester United 4, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
An unforgettable trip south for those Manchester United fans, in the sunshine in every sense at Wembley Stadium. A dream of a day for them, a nightmare for those in Tottenham white. Let's take a look at the main moments from this 54th Women's FA Cup final. Manchester United created the better openings even before they started scoring. This, the first of them, Leah Galton into Ella Toon. Lovely 1-2. Just enough on it to entice Becky Spencer out. She got there. Spurs keeper with the 50-50. First really big chance was this one. the kind of header that Rachel Williams has made a career out of burying. Set pieces very much an issue for good for Manchester United today and in general, and very much an issue defensively for Tottenham Hotspur. Williams again in that time, a slightly tougher header, just wide of the mark that time, having gone over first time around. Two claims for a handball.
And then the season that came, they probably felt they lost their way a bit. This season, I think, has been a real positive. I think the work that they've managed to do under Villahamn, the new manager, has been a very quick transition, and I think that only means that there's more success ahead. The fact they made it here, they've played at their first FA Cup final, their first major final. You want to win every final you play, and of course you do, but it's a huge step for the club to, I think, to have done this. It's something they can now leverage what they do from here. They're in a position in the league, I think they've confirmed top 6 as well, and that as well I think is something that's a very steady achievement, and it's one that I know that both those things will be something that they can now say, right, that we've set our bar, and how do we build on this? And from just even hearing their manager speak through this week, he's got a plan that's bigger than just his first season. He wants this to be a project, he wants there to be more success. He's got a very, very positive and I think interesting manner. When you hear him speak, I find it personally very engaging, and I have no doubt that there's more from this team. They've got plenty of young players that have contributed to what's been a real positive season for him, and I hope they all feel proud. I know it will hurt, but I hope they do feel proud.
And they've certainly had some memorable moments on their way to the final. There was that dramatic extra time success against Leicester in the semi-finals, the penalty shootout victory over Manchester City, of course, in the quarters as well, but they came up short today. Robert Villahamn, who said that he's been waiting all of his career to participate in a match at Wembley, and you have to feel for Becky Spencer, who had that moment to forget with one of Garcia's goals as well.
She did. It's a very unforgiving position. It's a small mistake that plenty of players make in the game more than once, but when you're in the goals and you do that, then unfortunately it leads to a goal. So it's a difficult one for her, but I think she made some top saves, a real great save early on. I felt the rest of the game she was very, very solid, handled everything. I don't think she had a chance with any of the goals really, other than that one when she gave the ball away. So you know, to lose 4-0 will be extremely disappointing for her especially. No one likes to concede goals, especially goalkeepers, especially centre-backs, but I think today they just faced a team that were too good.
Well, Mark Skinner and co.'s mood would have been as black as his outfit last year when they were defeated by Chelsea at Wembley. They lost out to them in the WSL title race as well, so it was a disappointing climax to the campaign, but they are celebrating an FA Cup success today. Applause for him, and he gives applause back to the supporters who have been terrific today for them, rewarded by a tremendous showing from the players, and they were ruthless in their execution, with Mary Earps, a spectator, and Ella Toone scoring one of the great Wembley goals.
Yep, our goal changed the game, and United were good. We said earlier, I think most of their players will feel they've played very well today, and when that happens, you've got quality throughout, then I would say more often than not you're going to come out as the winners. And a lot of players stuck to the task, they did what was asked of them, and Spurs did make it difficult in that first half. It was a pretty tightly contested game without there being too many clear-cut opportunities, but United were patient, they trusted what they had, they trusted the game plan. The opening goal was fantastic from Toone, as we've said plenty of times, but you probably can't say it enough. If you haven't seen it, it's worthy of every mention we've given it. And these are the moments a lot of these players came to this football club for, and maybe some of them have had to wait a little longer than they would have liked to get their hands on a trophy. But and now we're seeing Galton's been helped up the steps, and
I don't think she'd need much help getting up there to get a winner's medal. Whatever the injury, she would make sure she is there to collect the medal and get her hands on the cup.
You're absolutely right. It is Gemma Evans, it's giving her a helping hand, but it's maybe more just a comforting one rather than one that's needed. I think you're right. She's going to get herself that medal and that trophy however she needs to.
And for Mark Skinner, who has had to endure some criticism from some quarters for what is perceived as a disappointing return given the talent at his disposal, he will feel this is justification and vindication as he collects his FA Cup winners' medal. And all of the players now closing in on getting their hands on the silverware. Manchester United's wait for a major trophy is over, and they are going to make the most of every single second, and why not?
Absolutely. Live and enjoy every moment of this. That's what it's about. You spend most of the build-up to the game trying to not get sucked into the occasion, but when you're on the winning team, the aftermath is very much lap it up. Make every experience one to remember, and I've no doubt the players will for the rest of the afternoon, evening, whatever time in the morning they end up getting back home. And that is why you play. You know, as much as it's a profession, you have to do the hard work. Lifting trophies is such an incredibly fun part of the job. That's the best bit, and these players deserve to celebrate, as I've said tonight, because it's the FA Cup. It's a prestigious trophy for a reason.
Well, I wonder what's on her mind as she gets closer and closer to clasping the FA Cup. Said that they wanted to channel the hurt and anger at falling at the final hurdle against Chelsea here a year ago, and that hurt is about to turn into joy. Katie Zellum has the cup. A red-letter day at Wembley. Manchester United win their first major trophy. They are the 2024 Women's FA Cup winners. And today, it is certainly a case of glory, glory, Man United, as they enjoy a glorious day out in the sun.
Yeah, you can see the players there, each one of them just getting their opportunity to throw the trophy in the air. It's a moment that a lot of these players, some have done before, but a lot of these players will remember this as being one of the first times they've lifted this trophy. The success at Wembley, in front of the fans, it's an occasion that as players you can't get enough of, and like I say, you don't know when the next opportunity may come, and it might never come, so you've got to treasure it, and I've no doubt these players will. A lot of them deserve to. They've worked extremely hard to just put themselves in a position to be in the final today, and I think today they've absolutely been the better team in every area, and therefore they're worthy champions.
Well, Manchester United finally have their hands on a trophy, and after last year's disappointment, it is jubilation for all of those in red. For Manchester United, the wait is over.